So I was scrolling on Reddit one day, just minding my business, when I stumbled across this guy ranting about Denji. He was just straight up slandering my boy, calling him the worst main character he's ever seen, referring to him as a simp, using words like dumb, unlikable, and unappealing. Now all of this took me by surprise, but I wondered if this guy was just a once-in-a-lifetime idiot, or if there was any group of people who felt the same way as he did. And what I found out left me rather disappointed. I was baffled to see the amount of people that think Denji is a bad character. Now there's a few reasons I've seen people make this claim, but I think that the real reason they say this is mostly because Denji is nothing like most battle shonen protagonists. He's less idealistic and more realistic. It's something fans of this genre aren't used to, so it may be harder to understand. And I hate to be the "you just don't get it" guy, but everything he wrote in this post leads me to believe that he just doesn't fucking get it. So I'm gonna explain it to him and anybody else that has something to say about my boy. Now check it. Denji is a character with goals that are kind of selfish. And by selfish, I mean he doesn't have this heroic goal like making the world a better place or something stupid like that. His goal is simply for him to live a normal life. And this is because of his upbringing. See, Denji pretty much grew up in hell. He started off his life with nobody, with nothing pretty much. He was poor, hungry, homeless, and alone. Literally up until he met Makima, the only friend he had was Pochita, and that's a damn devil. So you can imagine why him wanting a regular life is a very realistic goal. It just makes sense. And this is my favorite part about Denji, the fact that he just makes sense. Denji progresses throughout the story in one of the most relatable, realistic ways ever. Most people say that he's just a perv, but don't consider that he's a 16-year-old who's never had any type of relationship with a woman, or any human for that matter. So him being kind of thirsty at first is very reasonable, but the progress he makes from this to how he is now, when it comes to understanding love or his feelings in general, is a strong point in Chainsaw Man. He learns the difference between romantic relationships and platonic relationships. He learns the value of platonic relationships, and most importantly, he better understands his own feelings. Early in Chainsaw Man, we see him questioning himself when Himeno dies, wondering if he had a heart since he didn't cry after her death. He was confused and didn't know if he had empathy or not. This was something Denji, the character, wasn't sure of, but it was something the audience should have knew since it was displayed. Take him saving power from the Bat Devil, for example. I know he makes it seem like he did it so he can touch a pair of watermelons, but think about how he didn't even remember the promise they made to each other after the fact. Power had to remind him to touch her breast, so it clearly wasn't that important to him. It wasn't touching her breast that drove him to save her after she literally tried to set him up. This was an instinctive act of empathy, something Denji has but doesn't quite understand. From this point, Denji grows so much, and I like how his growth isn't sudden and has good pacing. Remember, he starts off alone and not understanding connection. Lots of bonding moments happen between him, Aki, and Power, and he learns to care about the people he considered to be his friends. He values the friendship greatly. Now once he finally builds this connection, we see Denji lose it all very quickly, and this is where I think Denji shines, because instead of just getting an unrealistic random power boost like most main characters in his position would do, we see Denji react in the most realistic way possible, because this shit completely breaks him. This man goes into such a depressive state after having to kill his homie that he completely gives up all of his original goals. A few chapters later, he watches his other homie get killed right in front of him, and this man turns into literally nothing, completely crumbles and gives up. Nothing like the usual battle shonen main character, where usually they'll swear to avenge their friend and then fight the person responsible for this shit. My man's Denji deadass crumbles after this, displaying how much he cared for his new friends. He did what most people would do in this situation. Like I said, he's more realistic than idealistic. Does he eventually do what he has to do? Yes, but it goes through a natural sequence for him to get to that point. So like I said, it makes sense. Hell, even the way he approaches his lust is realistic. People say he's just a perv, but I don't really see him do anything pervy. We never see him go about things in a creepy way. The first time he touched boobs, Power gave him the go-ahead. His first kiss was given to him. He turned down Himeno's sex offer because he loves Makima, and even went without trying anything on Power when she was pretty much giving him every reason to act out a little. The man's never done anything without consent, and I like that for a young character who starts off as sex driven. Yeah, his inner thoughts are that of a 16-year-old, but he never does anything pervy. We literally never see his morals get overshadowed by his sex drive, and I feel like that makes him an even better character. All in all, Denji is just a great fucking character. Yeah, he seems standard standard at first, but he is easily one of the most different main characters I've seen in a battle shonen. He's not your typical shonen goody two-shoe. He's honestly just a realistic take on a 16-year-old who's trying to figure out who he is, and he deserves the damn praise he gets. Anyways guys, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and smash that like button for me, and if you have an opinion on Denji, leave a comment down below, and as always, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Boot out.